Disability is inability of an individual with impairment to do one thing or another due to individual physical limitations and restrictions imposed on them by the environment they live or operate in.
This is where you find a person is having impairments either mentally or physically or even emotionally. Like you have some impairment somewhere that hinders you from being someone or doing something.
It can be physical or inner. I mean that when you have a physical disability, it means you have it either on the leg, on the arm, or any part of your body that you can see. And then when I say inner, it's all about the diseases. For example, that is sickle cell, albinism, and then others.
You find yourself you're not fitting in a certain community or you're not fitting in a certain congregation because you have a certain impairment.
Disability is a relationship between the people with impairments and the environment.
Just as no one person is like another, no person with disability is the same as another, even if he or she has the same disability. A disability is a function limitation that may interfere with a person's ability to walk, hear, talk, see, think, and learn, but does not affect each person in the same way. In addition, some people may have multiple disabilities in varying degrees.
We have different types of disabilities. We have albinism, we have a physical disability where you find people have maybe they can't walk well or they are amputees or something like that. Then we have those with epilepsy, we have those with asthma, those with sickle cell, then we have the little people.
Why should I care what people say? They don't know what you mean to me.
Disability inclusion means that all people, regardless of their abilities, disabilities, or health care needs, have the right to be respected, appreciated as valuable members of their communities, seeing them beyond their disabilities.
Favoring the people with disabilities to fit in the society, like not isolating them. If it comes to accessibility, people can easily access different places easily without any hindrances. Or if it comes to accommodation, inclusive accommodation, you find that people with disabilities are not left out.
Disability inclusion involves consideration of people with disability, generally through disability-focused organizations or structure designs.
MOBS has tried to cater for people with disabilities, where you find now the constructions, the buildings that they are building, they are trying to favor people with disabilities. It may be when you're physical, now that they have tried to put the slumps where one can access a certain classroom, a certain lecture room, so that he or she is able to improve on his academics.
An inclusive design is the formulation of an environment so that it can be accessed by as many people as possible, regardless of age, gender, and disability. In other words, an inclusive design keeps the diversity and uniqueness of each individual in mind.
Actually, when I reported to Makerere University Business School, I came across these issues, all these activities. Let me call them status or programs, whereby they involve people with disability. For example, they are given people who can help them. When you look at our lecture room, we have a person who is not able to speak, and he was given a mentor to look after him, to interpret for him using the sign.
If you're disabled, maybe you have a physical impairment, now you find you have a helper and that helper is paid.
And then people who cannot think also they have the equipment that can allow them at least to view something.
For hearing impairment, they are provided with interpreters to every class, to every lecture room, where these people can access the information that is taught in our lecture rooms.
Inclusiveness can be achieved through seeking information, understanding, and knowledge. Creating a more usable physical environment with products and communications which suit as many people as possible.
If you look at the compound of MOOBs, accessibility is really embraced, because if you're to move around the university compound, you see there are ramps everywhere. Where you find a step, there is a ramp.
Modifying systems to enable easy usage for persons with disabilities.
For example, the library, I'm so happy and privileged that they put for us a lift.
Eliminating the belief that people with disabilities are unhealthy or less capable of doing things, or in that case, avoiding stigma and stereotypes.
By the way, when I came at Makerere University Business School, I didn't know there that there is sports for people with disability. But on our day for people with disability, I saw that there is sports for them.
Students come to our higher education classrooms with a wide variety of knowledge, skills, talents, and abilities.
For example, we had activities like, that is to say, football. We had an activity that we were engaged in, and that was self-pal. Self-pal, it was all about helping people with disabilities to show them how can they fight for their rights when someone like approaches them, and then maybe they do something that maybe kidnapping them, issues of that. How can they report using that self-pal?
For all the students to be successful and feel supported, there must be an inclusive learning environment.
When it comes to examinations, for those people who do not see well, they are given a chance. When they are printing out the examinations, they have to raise, or they have to print them well in a big font, where that all those people that with visual impairment are able to get or are able to access those materials.
Students have disabilities that they may or may not disclose to faculty and staff. Typically, the process of providing required documentation and identifying appropriate accommodation is a collaborative effort between the student and the disability service staff.
MOOBs gives leadership opportunities to students with disabilities. For example, they have a minister for students with disabilities, they have a GRC for students with disabilities. So all these people try to air out the views of all the needs or the challenges students face.
Now we have some positions where we have to elect our leaders. At least we raise our voices to the congregation.
So all these people try to air out the views of all the needs or the challenges students face. And then it has also gone ahead to establish the Disability Resource and Learning Center.
We identify specific accommodations that students with disabilities may need in order to fully participate in life at the university.
So that center is really working so hard that to make sure that students with disabilities have a nice stay at MOOBs. We always have activities like the Disability Awareness Day, the workshops, the trainings, the awareness workshops. So they really engage every stakeholder in the university to make sure they embrace or they are aware of the disability in the university.
I'm here to demonstrate how a white cane is supposed to be used. Assuming she's totally blind and she's supposed to move with a white cane, so that's how it's supposed to be held or handled.
When we held the Disability Awareness Day, I was impressed when I saw a group of students who are deaf. Really, they danced so well, and you would think they are hearing, you know. I'm sure together with the administration we can still push more and more together with the Disability Resource and Learning Center.
I'm happy that you're feeling good, and whichever problem that you feel like having, please feel yourself. Don't feel like there is something wrong, nothing. Just come up, the guild president, the council member here, the staff, volunteer here for MOOCs, and even the dean of students. In any case, any of those doesn't help you. I'm there to help you.
Climate change greatly affects the blind, deaf, lame, albinos, paralysis victims, among others, during extreme weather conditions, much more than it would affect the ordinary members of society.
And you find that the school does not provide the sunscreens or even umbrellas. So, and the sunscreens are too expensive, and in the long run you'll find they may end up even having skin cancer or even other diseases, or maybe having cracked skin or something like that. So if the school has maybe put in place the sunscreen provisions, it would really help us be protected from the sun.
For this reason, academic institutions, hospitals, organizations, workplaces, and recreation parks should be encouraged to build designs that cater for disabled members of our society.
Disability is not inability. We don't need sympathy, but rather acceptance.